couple of key highlights from Tesla's earnings report, and then we'll get to the actual call itself. Number one, fairly thin profit this quarter, 0.4 billion GAAP operating income, 0.4 billion GAAP net income, and 0.9 billion non-GAAP net income. Record cash, $37 billion, quite a war chest now. Tesla noting that in Q1 they accomplished an industry first, simultaneously changing over production lines across all factories for the world's best-selling vehicle, the Model Y, which has been part of the narrative from the DMFs and the fake news who've been either so stupid they actually think it's true or just deceiving their audiences, claiming that Tesla sales are collapsing in this region and that region in Q1. It's a disaster, demand's over. None of them, not once, mentioning the global changeover of the Model Y, which is their best-selling vehicle and accounts for this drop in volume. Tesla noting that the current tariff landscape will have a relatively larger impact on their energy business compared to automotive. However, they also add, "We are taking actions to stabilize the business in the medium to long term and focus on maintaining its health." More on tariffs potentially having an impact on the business. Tesla then pointing out, quote, "We remain committed to expanding our business model to include delivering autonomous robots across multiple form factors and use cases, powered by our real-world AI expertise, to our customers and for use in our factories as we navigate these headwinds." And finally, in the face of near-term profitability hurdles, the low-cost, localized manufacturing base that we have built provides advantages in delivering the best products at the right price to our customers globally. Another example of Tesla does not exist in a vacuum. Any company attempting to compete with Tesla selling electric vehicles to consumers will be far more impacted than any of the short-term tariffs being used as negotiating tools than Tesla themselves. Quote, "As guided, switchover of production lines for the new Model Y resulted in several weeks of lost production. But wait, there's more. During the switchover, we also prepared our factories for the launch of new models later this year." Surprise, motherfuckers. Given economic uncertainty resulting from changing trade policy, more affordable options are as critical as ever. And of note, we continue progress on the installation of lines for Tesla Semi in Nevada and the Cybercab in Texas. Both remain on track for volume production next year. And now onto the stuff that really matters, AI, software and hardware. We believe that our approach to autonomy, a vision-only architecture with end-to-end neural networks trained on billions of examples of real-world data, will result in scalable and safe deployment across diverse geographies and use cases. This was validated with the launch of FSD Supervised in China, which was achieved without access to country-specific training data. Now, I wasn't surprised to see this happen. In fact, I said this would happen, but it's important to understand why and how this happened. As I've said at least 10 quadrillion times, I'm not even exaggerating much, Tesla has created a generalized approach to solving autonomy. Their vehicles, which are displaying real-world intelligence, have learned how to drive. Period. Not how to drive on this street or this road in this country under these rules, but to drive, period. Just like a human. If you learn to drive, you can go to a new city, get in a car for the first time, and unless you're an incompetent driver in the first place, you'll be fine. This has massive implications for the wide scaling of full autonomy once Tesla has a regulatory approval. They're going to shoot past companies like Waymo in terms of autonomous miles traveled almost overnight, and there'll be no catching them because no other company has a generalized solution. And as we saw this quarter, Model 3, Model Y, and Cybertruck now drive autonomously without human supervision from the production line to the outbound logistics lot at our US factories. And we remain on track for pilot launch of Robotaxi in Austin by June, motherfuckers, and builds of Optimus on our Fremont pilot production line in 2025, with wider deployment of bots doing useful work across our factories. Sometimes a graph sums things up perfectly. Tesla's energy storage business absolutely crushing it. Don't sleep on Tesla Energy. Tesla noting a little bit of uncertainty around the macroeconomic environment, and obviously there's issues potentially over the short and medium term with trade. Tesla saying that they will revisit their 2025 guidance in their Q2 update. Importantly, under product, plans for new vehicles, that's plural, including more affordable models, that's also plural, remain on track for start of production in the first half of this year, which, by the way, is now. It's April. There's only 2 months left in the first half of this year. These vehicles will utilize aspects of the next generation platform as well as aspects of our current platforms and will be produced on the same manufacturing lines as our current vehicle lineup. And we heard earlier in this report, while Tesla was changing over Model Y, they made the adjustments, the changes, the modifications to existing facilities to enable production of these very vehicles. I just want to emphasize, I think this is the third quarter in a row, maybe even close to 4 quarters now, where Tesla's explained that more affordable vehicles, plural, enter production first half of this year. They've been extremely consistent, yet so many DMFs. Oh, the Tesla needs a new growth engine. Where's the growth? Where they need the more affordable vehicles? What's going to help? What? I don't understand. Tesla says the same thing quarter after quarter after quarter. We're on track first half this year, production, more affordable vehicles. And then analysts are shrieking that Tesla needs to tell them more information. Are they still on track? What's going on? Then the next quarter, we're still on track for production first half of this year. Do they not listen? I really don't understand. My favorite photo from the report, Optimus, the Fremont pilot production line for Tesla's humanoid robot. Epic. Don't sleep on Optimus. Now on to Tesla's company update call / earnings call. Elon's opening remarks pointing out obviously that there's never a dull moment, and then immediately addressing the elephant in the room, the Doge blowback, pointing out that obviously there's naturally going to be some blowback from fraudsters whose snouts are being forcibly removed from the trough. But Musk points out that the right thing to do, despite the blowback, is to fight the waste and the fraud. Also rightly pointing out that if the ship of America goes down, we all go down with it, and that includes Tesla. And for those who don't understand what he's talking about, the current waste, fraud, abuse, let's just call it excess spending, however the money's being spent, has put the United States in a position where it is absolutely overburdened with unsustainable levels of debt. Something needs to change or the company goes bankrupt. Another example of Musk willing to take the arrows and do what's right, even if doing so is painful. However, he points out that the bulk of the work in terms of setting up the foundation for Doge has been done. This is in place, and that Musk's time allocation to Doge will drop considerably starting next month. But Elon also points out that he will remain involved for the full Trump term, or at least as long as Trump would like him, and as long as he is useful. He continues and points out that Tesla's been through many near-death experiences, and this is not one of these times. Not even close. And I mean, spoiler alert, no shit, Sherlock. How many billion was it? $37 billion of cash and cash equivalents. World's best-selling electric vehicle. World's best-selling vehicle. They've just updated it, making more money selling electric vehicles than any other company on the planet. They're killing it with AI. I could keep going on. They're well past the point of no return. I mean, bro, Mary Barra could be leading Tesla for the next century and still struggle to bankrupt the company. That's how robust the situation they are in. Musk continues and points out that he remains extremely optimistic about the future of Tesla, which is based on robotaxi and humanoid robots. Importantly, at scale and low cost. Scale and low cost of complicated manufactured objects that include batteries, electric motors, FSD computers, Tesla's core specialty. Elon also reiterating that he says that, with a caveat, with incredible execution, which is kind of what Tesla does for breakfast, lunch and dinner, Tesla likely to become the most valuable company in the world by far. Possibly as valuable as the next 5 largest companies combined. Go on, do the math on that. Oh, wait. And in today's episode of Obvious Things Are Obvious, there will be some bumps in the road before that happens. Oh, no shit, Sherlock. Oh, and importantly, by the middle or end of next year is when Musk believes autonomy will really start to become material in terms of Tesla's financials. And again, reiterating, yes, they are on track for robotaxis to launch in Austin in June. Musk, with a little quote, "Lift your gaze to the bright shining citadel on the hill." The point he's trying to make there is, if you get distracted in the short-term noise, you're going to miss the big, bright future that Tesla has. That's just around the corner. Now, regarding supply chain risk, Musk points out that which we already know. Tesla has been localizing supply chain for several years on each continent where they have a factory. And importantly, this means that Tesla is the least likely impacted company by tariffs, blah, blah, blah. That obviously puts Tesla in a much better position than their so-called competitors. I mean, I've been saying this for quite some time. Obvious things are obvious. Tesla does not exist in a vacuum. Who has the most pricing power in Europe or China or the United States if there's a massive trade war and crazy tariffs stay in place for a little bit longer than some people expect? A company who's almost entirely or mostly localized their supply chain, or one of their competitors who hasn't? Then Elon goes on to explain again why the future is exciting. First, autonomy, pointing out that the Tesla team is laser focused on launching autonomy in Austin in June. Obviously, with the Model Y first. Again, I've pointed this out, but Musk did clarify for those people who are a little bit, what the fuck does autonomy even mean? As I said, for months, this is first going to happen in Tesla's existing vehicles, most likely the Model Y, possibly 3 as well, but Y is the obvious choice because it's the highest volume vehicle. They got a lot of them. They can crank these things out themselves, plus customers can potentially add them to the fleet as well. The actual Cybercab itself, the dedicated robotaxi vehicle, will be entering volume production next year. But that's not needed for Tesla to provide autonomous rides. With an over-the-air software update, Model Ys can unlock and start doing that in Austin first, which is the plan. I mean, we obviously could have seen this coming. Tesla's Autonomy Day, they showed Model Ys and Cybercabs driving around. Musk also spoke of the advantages of having a generalized solution for autonomy, which I spoke about earlier when covering Tesla's earnings report, the release in China almost overnight with no local training data. Musk points out that once we make autonomy work in a few cities in the United States, e.g. Austin and then possibly Phoenix and San Francisco, who knows where else it'll roll out, we can then make it work anywhere in America. And the same is true of China and Europe. The limiting factor will be regulatory approvals. And that's the advantage of having a generalized solution, which again, for the record, no other company trying to solve autonomy has. So again, think about the implications. Tesla are making good progress on Optimus and expect to have thousands of Optimus robots doing, keyword here, useful work in Tesla factories by end of this year. Now, this will be pretty remarkable if Tesla can pull it off. Thousands of Optimus robots. I mean, that could mean that in just a few months from now, Tesla could have produced thousands of robots that have contributed more, done more useful work than a Reddit moderator has in their entire lifetime. And again, the keyword here is useful work. If they're useless, this is going to be a net drag. But if it's useful, there's going to be a net add to productivity. This means cost savings. This is a business becoming more efficient using their own Optimus products. And then obviously, when Tesla has a useful product that can do useful work in a automotive type of situation in a factory, but it's fairly generalized, they'll soon be able to sell those robots to other companies who want to bring costs down. It won't be long before Tesla's scaled Optimus in their own factories doing useful work and then begins selling them to customers and has a massive wait list. It'll be factories, warehouses, those kind of things initially, logistics centers, and then very quickly many other tasks, eventually things like construction sites, yard work, gardeners, nannies, cooks, chefs, and probably somebody even eventually to keep some of the lonely Tesla short sellers company at night. Now, they ain't fucking around with Optimus. Musk said to expect to scale Optimus faster than any product in history. That's their goal. They want to get to millions per year, as in 1 million plus units per year in less than 5 years, e.g. by the end of this decade. Maybe 4 years. Now, obviously, these are goals. They haven't happened yet. We know 2014, Tesla sort of throws a goal out there of building a factory and having about 500,000 electric vehicles produced per year in 2020. 6 years later, tick. So this is roughly the same time frame, and 1 million Optimus robots per year by end of decade would be absolutely insane. But that's what they're aiming for. Musk also pointing out that Tesla's energy business is going to scale to very big numbers. We also heard that the Model Y, which is a 1.1 million unit per year product, let that sink in. Regarding the changeover, the team did an amazing job on a very difficult transition, which, I mean, obvious things are obvious, but that's crazy. And still, I mean, I kind of pretend like I scratch my head as if I don't know the reason, but all the dumb fucks in the media, all the retarded analysts, oh my god, Tesla demand is collapsing, it's Elon brand destruction, Tesla is destroying the sales. Not one of these retards mentions that Model Y is doing over 1 million units per year. It's carrying the company, and Tesla did a simultaneous global changeover, which they told us ahead of time. We knew this was happening. It's not like it's a surprise. Yet region after region, there's a reduction in vehicle deliveries in the first quarter, the same quarter that Tesla does this massive changeover. And the narrative is Elon's destroying Tesla's brand. No mention of the Model Y changeover. I covered this multiple times in videos during the quarter. Now, it's true, Musk points out, there are many near-term headwinds, but the future is brighter than ever. And Musk, with a little quote that he likes to describe, I guess, the future of life on Earth, but driven in part by Tesla, quote, sustainable abundance for all. Sounds good to me. A couple of remarks from Tesla's CFO, first of all, pointing out the truly absurd, incredible, challenging, and almost flawlessly executed Model Y changeover. Noting that Tesla's legacy Model Y, as in the pre-refreshed version, was still being produced until the middle or end of February. Yet they still managed to sell this out while launching the new vehicle. The team did an incredible job on this changeover. Just think about this for a moment. Not only were they still making this thing until February, they miraculously somehow managed to change over their global production lines to the new model in, at most, probably like a month and a half and begin ramping. Incredible stuff. Now, importantly, and as I've discussed fairly recently, the impact of tariffs on Tesla's energy business will be outsized because their cells for the energy products do come from China. They're not locally manufacturing those. Tesla CapEx this year, including some tariff impact on equipment, likely to be in excess of $10 billion, and more confirmation, yes, more affordable Tesla vehicle models are still on track. Retail investors submit questions as always. In response, Elon Musk predicts that, quote, millions of Teslas are likely to be operating autonomously by the end of next year. Were you listening? I'm going to say that again. Millions, plural, of Teslas operating autonomously by end of next year. What if he's right? Or what if Tesla's only a couple of years late? We also heard this again, It's important though to understand. One of the biggest challenges in deploying autonomy is that there are so few interventions per mile. That's extremely tough to actually figure out the long tail edge cases. You understand, right? The way you improve the software is discovering an issue, an edge case. But in order to actually run into a very uncommon scenario, you need to be doing crazy miles. This means that Tesla needs a fuckload of vehicles doing a fuckload of miles to actually accumulate the data and eventually bump into those edge cases. It's kind of ironic. The software is so good and so capable and so safe that there are so few interventions to tick off those final edge cases. More confirmation that the Cybercab is prepping for volume production next year. When asked about when FSD unsupervised will be available for personal use, Musk says he believes that's likely to happen later this year in some cities in the US, but also points out that Tesla will be rolling it out extremely cautiously. And a very interesting insight, although, I kind of called all this stuff before we'd heard this, but just to be clear, regarding the new, more affordable vehicles, which are still on track per Tesla's guidance, as in first half of this year. The key to fully utilize Tesla's existing factories, and they mentioned this many quarters ago when they explained these vehicles, right? Get up to about 3 million units per year from existing facilities without any major changes. This means, obviously, and they didn't explicitly point this out, but if you have a brain and you use it, it's quite evident what they're getting at here. There's not a huge amount of retooling and rejigging, meaning they need to use as many parts and processes in common as possible with the existing 3 and Y, meaning obvious things are obvious. Almost certainly, these more affordable vehicles, plural, are going to be the equivalent of, if not exactly, a watered-down version of today's Model 3 and Model Y with less high-end features and finishes. That's the only way this reasonably makes sense. In an ideal world, they'd probably be slightly smaller, less mass, but that might involve so much fuckery that it's better to have exactly the same form factor and literally just strip out some of the high-end features like the rear screen, the ventilated seats, use slightly lower-end materials, etc. If only somebody could have predicted this ahead of time and said it day after day after day after day, so investors knew what to expect. Oh wait, he did. While we're on the subject of obvious things being obvious, which is the story of this entire call, regarding Waymo, Musk points out obviously that they have very high costs and low volume, continuing that Tesla's vehicle cost is roughly 20% that of a Waymo. So ladies and gentlemen, do the math. I've explained this thesis 400 trillion times as well. I'm not even exaggerating much. Again, Waymo's fucked. They can't scale quickly, and even if they could, for them to put hardware on roads is costing roughly 5 times as much as Tesla, who have a mission of accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy, aka, as soon as wait times are in check, they're going to lower their cost per mile to use their autonomous robotaxis, because those are electric miles that are replacing internal combustion engine vehicle miles. And Waymo will not be able to match Tesla on price unless they make catastrophic financial losses. Musk continues, Teslas are made in high volume, so yeah, quote, I don't see anyone being able to compete with Tesla at present regarding autonomy. Obviously, over a long enough time frame, people will be able to, companies will be able to, but by then, cue the next point. Tesla could have a 90% market share. Musk then ponders, if we have millions of robotaxis on roads next year, do the math. Elon is also confident that by the end of this year, Model Y vehicles will drive themselves from factories to customers in both Texas and California. When asked about the unboxed system for manufacturing Cybercab, Tesla making great progress there, and pointing out that the system will eventually produce 1 car every 5 seconds. As in, that's how quickly a vehicle will be coming off the line. Any faster than that, those things would be flying off, it'd be a bit dangerous. For context, and this is really important, currently Shanghai, the most efficient of Tesla's factories and far and away the most efficient in the world, has a 33-second production time. So Cybercab, think about this, coming off production lines 6 times faster. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Tesla's goal with Cybercab is to make them as affordably and as quickly from the smallest factory footprint as possible. People do not have any idea how quickly Tesla's Cybercab fleet's going to scale. We're going to revisit this statement and go, oh shit, they weren't joking when they said 1 car every 5 seconds. Now, some of the highlights from the institutional investor questions. Pierre Ferragut asks, essentially, why are DMFs not buying Teslas and instead are choosing to buy inferior products? In other words, why doesn't Tesla have literally 100% market share? Musk then goes on to point out that the reality is in the future, most people aren't even going to buy vehicles, period. And he's right. Autonomy is that big of a deal. This is a juicy nugget. When asked about the fleet size for Tesla's Robotaxis in Austin for the first launch, Tesla's still debating the exact number, but maybe 10 or 20 vehicles on day one. And they'll pay very close attention and scale up from there. They want to be extremely cautious with this rollout, obviously. Regarding Tesla entering India, they'd like to be there, but as it stands, a customer in India has to pay roughly double what somebody else does due to tariffs and duties. Very tough market to enter, but Tesla would like to be there. And god damn it, dude. Oh, shit, man. This was so cringe. Analysts asked about the new more affordable vehicles, and then is trying to, well, is it going to be like a more affordable 3 or Y? Now, look, Tesla aren't going to say this, because if Tesla says this on an earnings call and the media runs with it, there's going to be a massive effect on the sales of their existing 3 and Y. Okay? But I'll say it because I'm not Tesla and no one gives a shit what I've got to say. Right? This isn't going to be international news. Let me be really clear. Yes. The answer is yes. Yes. In response, Tesla, I believe Lars, alluded to the fact that he'd already discussed this earlier by explaining that Tesla needs to crank these vehicles out of their existing facilities, which means some existing form factors and materials and rah, rah, rah. Yes. The answer is yes, Colin. But he can't say that. If he says that on the earnings call, a bunch of people hear about this on CNBS and in the media and go, oh shit, well, I don't really need ventilated seats and a rear screen. I'd much rather get a slightly more affordable Tesla and I'll just wait. They're not going to say that, but yes, this is exactly the fucking case. It is amazing, the inability of some of these analysts to read between the fucking lines. Brother, yes, the answer is yes. So awkward that Tesla had to essentially say, yes, you moron. We just said that earlier. Did you not do the math in your head? But poor guy just obviously doesn't get it. Yes, one more time. Yes. Regarding tariffs, which again, definitely causing some short-term pain for Tesla. Elon himself, on the record, many times, by the way, that he's an advocate of free trade and lower tariffs, but he does admit that in some cases, if there's predatory tariffs or a government is providing extreme financial support for a particular industry, you do need to do something about that, in a case-by-case and strategic way. Elon has also shared his thoughts with Trump on tariffs, but then acknowledges that Trump is the president and so he makes his decisions. Now, again, I'm going to say it for the millionth time. These tariffs are not going to stay forever, except in the case where a country are extremely stubborn and arrogant and refuse to play ball. They're being used as negotiating tools. The end destination is free trade or very close approximation. The current extreme reciprocal, by the way, I have to add reciprocal tariffs in place. I mean, you don't like the tariffs, just drop yours and the US will drop theirs, are a negotiating tool to bring countries to the table to discuss to lower tariffs. That's the destination. And there will be some countries who hold out for idiotic reasons. And I look very much forward to visiting my predictions 6-12 months from now. However, in the meantime, there is going to be some serious short-term pain. And finally, on humanoid robots, Elon believes that no company in any country can match Tesla in terms of their capabilities. Remember, volume production, affordably, high-tech, the AI, no one's close. He's right. He does point out, though, that on the leaderboard for humanoid robots, Tesla obviously number 1, but ranks 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 will probably all be Chinese companies. Make of that what you will. So in summary, Tesla remains on track with their more affordable vehicles, which again, for the trillionth time, are obviously going to be essentially a watered-down version of the 301Y, which Tesla won't say out loud because of the Osborne effect. But bro, I'm telling you now. Robotaxis launch in Austin in June, motherfuckers. Cybercab remains on track. Tesla killing it. Short-term pain. Who cares? AI is the future. That's where to focus. Tesla slaying it, and remember, they don't exist in a vacuum. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients. Plus, has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs.